AI, we need something smarter than AI now, Brian. Maybe it's us.
Maybe real intelligence instead of artificial intelligence.
Maybe. Janie Ruddy, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
Our elected school board, the closer you get to that microphone, the better tonal qualities, and there
Yes,
you go.
sir.
So
There we go.
good morning.
Good morning.
Could AI ever write a song like this, David?
This one? I don't know. They write songs, I know, real fast. They do movies even.
Yeah.
And they do voice impersonation. So right now, I can't even actually verify that Sam Greco is on the phone with us. Morning, Sam.
Good morning, David.
How do we know it's really you? We're just talking about the AI and what do we know? But anyway, Sam Greco, our Florida State representative for District 19, which is Flagler and St. Johns County. And you're busy over there in Tallahassee, I understand.
That's right. Yep. Calling in from Tallahassee this morning. It was a busy week here, kind of the halfway point. Based on the traditional 60 days of session, we'll see if we're able to end on time this year, or if we might go long. But it's definitely the time when things are picking up. So it's a busy but productive week.
Are there any bets being placed yet on a over/under 60 days?
Well, there's already been a special session called by the governor for April. So I think that, I think at a minimum it looks like we'll have that, but there may be more. A lot of it rests on where the budget conversation is, and we should probably have a better sense the next time I call in a bit about where our progress on that front is.
So,
all right.
So can you say, I didn't sign up for this. I need to get overtime if I'm going to come back for a special session?
Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, but I'm excited to get to represent our district every day. And so, the more days of session we have, the more opportunity I have to spend time up here and advocate for everything we need back home.
All right, Sam Greco, I know you had had several visitors from Flagler County. One of them, Janie Ruddy, who's in the studio this morning. If you want to say good morning, Janie.
Good morning,
Janie.
Representative Greco. Appreciate to chat with you again, and very much appreciated our conversation about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, I did as well. Really enjoyed seeing you and your colleagues in Tallahassee. Thanks for making the trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, why we have Janie here, and education, of course, is a big thing this year, and what's going on and changes. I mean, there's big federal We'll talk about that a little bit later in the program. But a statewide, what's going on with the House, and kind of fill me in, and are there good things or are there threatening things going on? So maybe let me real quick from Sam ask Janie, this is a school board member. What do you like or not like what's happening in the legislature this year?
There's a lot going on in the legislature this year, particularly around education. When we went to go visit Representative Greco and Senator Leek, we specifically advocated for the Rural Renaissance Bill, which has a Senate bill associated with it that's passed, but not yet a House bill. And that would provide local control over some funding for education, but also infrastructure like transportation, which we know is a big concern in Palm Coast, as well as some technology funds for infrastructure in those rural counties. And we also advocated for equitable funding related to VPK students and adult ed. The way we service those students, we don't receive the same funding we do for K through 12 students. But outside of that, there are some really positive items that are happening, specifically around teacher-educator compensation. There is a Senate bill up there that is proposing to provide a cost of living increase for educators each year, which is amazing because right now, I would say like last year, we were only able to provide a 2% increase to educators, which we know is not equitable to COLA. Additionally, there's a House bill up for review around guidance counselors. And right now, guidance counselors, in addition to receiving a master's degree for counseling, they are also required to hold the teacher certification. The disadvantage around that is they then are often used for testing proctors, reducing their time and availability for student guidance and mental health services. So the proposal is to remove that requirement and thus forcing schools to really use the guidance counselor in the way that they're intended to.
All right. Well, that's a House bill, Sam, and you're familiar with this particular House bill on counselors?
I am familiar with it. I don't sit on any of the education committees. My committee assignments are mostly in judiciary and healthcare. So this is not a bill that I've seen yet, but the school board spoke with me about it when they visited the other day, and I've heard it. I believe it's moving forward, but I haven't had an opportunity to see it in committee yet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's one of those that you might look at and say, well, what's the big deal? What's the implication of that? But it would definitely have an impact in how we utilize guidance counselors and really target their role towards the student support services and mental health that they need. Now, a couple of items that I'm concerned about. First is obviously the property tax item. I know that there's right now 11 bills, I believe, or at least there was about a week ago, related to this in some form or fashion. And while the bills have stated that they are not going to include the school taxes, the funding for our county would then be taken out of the control of local hands and really be kind of directed from the state, right?
Okay,
Because
well,
we can't levy those property taxes. So the most popular bill right now that I believe is one that will excuse homesteaded properties. And so the impact for education here that I can see is that would increase the cost for rents, because that's usually a second home. And so those property taxes would not be excused.
All right. Well, Sam Greco, comment on what Janie has said so far with her concerns over that property taxes and the effect on schools.
Well, we've been very deliberate in the property tax proposals that we've put forward to make sure that we're exempting critical services like education, like police, and like fire. And we want to target the benefit of any potential property tax mitigation to Floridians and not to second homeowners, not to corporations who are owning large amounts of homes, not to multifamily property owners. So the idea being that tying this homestead reduction to the property tax reduction to homestead is how we can target it on Floridians' primary homes and not out-of-staters or others who own property in the state.
The piece that I see is that, in Flagler County, the largest section of the population that lives in poverty are actually children. And so those are most often people who are renters. And those landlords will not have property exemptions for those taxes, and therefore that could cause a potential increase in rents for those individuals. And so it may increase the number of families in transition we have, which would then further essentially strain the funds and resources we have to support those students. For example, we often send backpacks full of food home over the weekends for those students. We have additional transportation that we need to provide to students when they may be living with family members so that they can maintain a school and not change schools frequently. So there's a lot of additional costs that may come if we have an increase in those students.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm wondering, I think that a lot of the motivation for the property tax, reevaluation of how we do property tax, seems like there's a couple different reasons for it. One is just a philosophical, idea that you shouldn't have to pay forever because you own property. You know, that seems kind of like antithetical to, is it really your property or not your property? So I get that, and that seems like an admirable, quest. And then the other reason I think that it's being reevaluated is because there's a perception and probably some good data to support it that some cities are just kind of like jacking up their property tax on their residents. And, that's not something that the state of Florida wants to be known for or seen as. But what I'm wondering on the second point is, what about cities? Are there some counties and cities that are actually not jacking up their property taxes unreasonably, that sometimes there might be slight, increases, or sometimes, not going all the way down to rollback, for example. But those cities, there's probably some that are like running pretty efficiently and pretty well. And what I'm wondering is if there's property tax that's kind of like taken out of their arsenal to try to fund that, could it really do a lot of damage to some cities, while hopefully some of the cities maybe need some correction? But
all right, Sam, there's a lot to take in there on what he said, but kind of give us an umbrella overview of, I think, what the major intent. I think it's kind of being spearheaded by the governor, who's putting out there what's he expecting from people on it. So, Sam, what can you make sense out of what you just heard?
Sure. Well, the conversation was started by the governor, but it's a very important conversation, and one that we in the Florida House have taken on fully, and over the past almost a year now had a very robust conversation about it. Established a subcommittee to study it. Have had several proposals filed, and a number of those that have moved forward, a number of those that are continuing to move forward. There are certainly cities and counties that do a good job, and I like to think we live in an area that we have a good local government who is maybe not the most problematic part of Florida. But if you look around the state, and that's what we have to do here in the legislature when we're passing statewide laws, we have to look at the problem areas. We have to look at the people who are being really taken advantage of by their local government. Between 2014 and 2024, property tax revenues statewide nearly doubled. And even when you control it for inflation, even when you control it for population increase, there is still a stark increase in statewide property tax revenue between 2014 and 2024. If you look at the, that 10-year period, and so that is an indication that we have cities and counties in this state that have used rising property values to functionally raise the tax rate on their residents. Even if they don't affect the millage rate, they're still raising the tax on their residents by bringing in more and more revenue every year. And we've seen many examples now of how frivolously some of that money has been spent. And frankly, that's as a lawmaker, I find that offensive. And as a taxpayer, I think anybody should find that offensive, that that your government, and again, when we're talking about property tax, we're talking about counties and cities. The state does not levy property tax. We do not, at the state, receive any property tax. We governments out there who are spending money like it's monopoly money, like they can't get rid of it fast enough because they have this excess revenue, this windfall. That is who we need to be thinking of, and it's those residents who are not able to find recourse, that are being driven out of their homes because of the valuations going up, because their taxes are going up, that are no longer able to stay in their communities, that are forced to sell them and can't find somewhere else to buy, and then maybe become a renter. It's those people that we're thinking about when we're looking at how we can help make Florida affordable, make sure that critical resources are able to be funded, continue to be funded, but make sure that we're being fair to Floridians who are the ones who earn this money, and this money belongs in their pockets. And to the extent that we can, we should keep tax money in their pocket, whether that's property tax, sales tax, consumption taxes, you name it. and I would say this to my friends on the federal level too, that the goal with any tax policy should be, how can we do our job efficiently, effectively? How can we get done what we need to get done, but make sure that we are keeping every penny that we can in the pockets of those who earned it?
Well, Governor DeSantis is kind of pushing for a constitutional amendment on property taxes. So is this kind of part that would fall under one simple amendment on property tax, which would be a constitutional amendment, which would be law? What do you know about that?
Yeah, that's a really important point, David. So something to understand in this conversation as well is that the Florida Constitution prohibits the legislature and the governor from taking action that would directly interfere with a local government's ability to levy property taxes. So when we're talking about this property tax discussion, very importantly, we are talking about placing amendments on the ballot later this year in November that every Floridian will have the opportunity to vote on. These are not bills that the House is going to pass, the governor is going to sign, and all of a sudden, property tax is going to be changed. We cannot do that. We are prohibited from doing that. The only way that we can have these significant changes in property tax are with a constitutional amendment. So what we're looking at in the legislature is placing amendments on the ballot for the people to decide. And then at the end of the day, it will be every single Floridian who goes to the ballot in November who will have the opportunity to decide whether they think these are good ideas or bad ideas. And like any constitutional amendment, there's a 60% threshold that any of these amendments will need to meet in order to pass and be amended to the Constitution. But very important procedural point on how this works.
All right, Janie,
Sure.
Go ahead.
So back to the increase in property taxes. I think one thing that's unique in Florida is that our property taxes adjust with the value of our home. And the years that you had specified, Representative Greco, were years where housing costs increased. And so the advantage of that is when times are good and the houses are valued at a higher level, then we would hope that the government agencies are reserving some of those funds for, let's say, during times of recession, which happened directly preceding that time, and the property taxes were reduced. And so my argument to that would be is that we elect our local officials. If we're not happy with how they're spending the money or feeling that it's frivolous, then the local elections can resolve that. But eliminating property taxes and making it where perhaps then those expenditures are going to have to come from an increase in sales tax removes the local control over that money, and then becomes more difficult to then affect change, because now you're talking about affecting change through statewide elections and not our local entities. So, in addition, the argument is that, is this a lifetime tax or a mortgage? I grew up north where, back in 1990, the property taxes were probably double what they are now here in Florida. So I can't imagine what they are now. Our property taxes are relatively low compared to the rest of the country, especially the north. And those are not mortgages. They're not for the cost of the house. They're for the other services that we enjoy in our county. You think about money for the parks, the transportation, roads, other services that we ask of our local government to provide for us. So it's for the betterment of our community. And yes, our local officials should be held accountable to how they spend that money, and transparency is required. And we go back to the polls if we're not happy with that.
Okay. All right. Sam, final comment on that, and just kind of a quick overview on what's happening next week with the legislature.
Well, we are moving into the heavy budget phase of the session, so we're probably going to see our subcommittee budgets come back in probably in the next week, and that'll give us a good sense of where some of our funding priorities for the district are. We will, likely see more time spent on the House floor as bills continue to move out of committee, and we start passing things, in final passage, sending them to the Senate, sending them to the governor. We'll see, hopefully, get some more folks coming in to visit. I believe the city of Palm Coast, the council is coming this coming week, so looking forward to visiting with them then, and I'm sure having some conversations about property taxes when they're there. Yesterday in Tallahassee, we had what they've now dubbed St. Johns County Day. So all of the government and businesses and everybody from St. Johns County was in town and had a nice visit. So we are moving forward, and things are just going to keep getting faster and faster as we barrel towards March and beyond.
All right. Very good. Final question, Janie Ruddy.
Yeah, I think the other item that I'm most concerned with regarding public education is that there's some additional bills up for review around removing the local decision making around the curriculum that is used in schools. So right now, the process is, first of all, the state of Florida has to narrow down the field and essentially provide certain requirements of the vendors for books that we use in our classrooms for the curriculum. And then each school district undergoes a rigorous review process where it's open for parents to come in and review the instructional material. Well, not just parents, anybody in the community. But there are some bills there where they are leaning towards having more restrictions where the state as a whole defines what is provided in the curriculum or as a curriculum option in order to execute the standards. And I've even heard recently where there's some interest in having the state of Florida actually author the curriculum. So it's very interesting to me in that the Republican-led administration that we're moving to more government control as opposed to what I have always understood, that Republicans are for less government. And so again, this would be like a high control over curriculum. So what is good for Miami-Dade is maybe not great for Palm Coast, right? In our agricultural community, in terms of what curriculum resources we adopt in order to execute the standards. So that's very concerning to me.
Do you want to make a quick comment on that, Sam Greco?
We're having a conversation about curriculum, and we'll see where it lands. But it was appreciate the thoughts, and certainly we'll keep them in mind as we continue to discuss that. All
right, Brian, quick before we got to take a break here.
No, just again, Sam, you got a really hard job, but it's a really, really important job, and so thanks for being willing to do that and go, take the hot and the cold and hear all of our local officials up there. So thank you very much for serving our community the way you are.
Absolutely. And they only representatives only make like around $30,000. And I think that when he's up there in Tallahassee, he gets like a per diem that I don't even think would actually cover the hotel room. So it's probably costing him more money.
All right, I make a motion. We give Sam Greco a raise. How's that?
It's an honor to do it. I'm thrilled every day I get to be here and represent Flagler County in District 19. So thanks for the privilege to do it. My favorite times are when folks from back home come and visit me and tell me what's on their mind and what they're seeing on the ground and in the district. So those are the best days we have here. But always enjoy spending some time with you all on Friday morning.
All right, very good. Thanks. We'll see you in a couple of weeks here on Free for All, Sam.
Looking forward to it.
All right, sounds good. We got to take a break. We will be back. Free for All Friday. Flagler County School Board member Janie Ruddy in here. We're going to talk more about those things. Brian McMillan with the Palm Coast Observer. And we've got you as a listener. That's all we need. We'll be back.
Join us for karaoke Sunday and Wednesday nights starting at 6 p.m. or get your weekend going with our beach parties on Friday and Saturday starting at 9:30 p.m.
Johnny D's Beach Bar and Grill. We're waiting for you.
Hi folks, Bill Gallagher with SolarFit here. Have you ever thought about utilizing solar power for your home or business? Well, there's never been a better time to plug into the sun and stop renting electricity. How would you like to let your roof start paying you each month? Give us a call at 445-7606. That's 445-7606, or visit us at solarfit.com and set yourself free.
SolarFit your life and set yourself free with the sun's free energy.
Flagler County, between FP&L rate hikes and Palm Coast's rising water costs, utility charges are increasingly outrageous. But you can do something about it. Koala Insulation will make your home more energy efficient, reducing your electric bills while making your home more comfortable. Fight back against rising utility bills with family-owned Koala Insulation. Schedule a no-charge consultation at your home today by visiting koalainsulation.com. That's koalainsulation.com.
Hi, this is William with LCI Taxes. Due to the passing of the big beautiful bill last summer, there is a lot of tax changes. So if you have any questions, you can give us a call at 586-3976, lcitaxes.com.
Craig Flagler Palms Funeral Home and Flagler Memorial Gardens creates unique personalized funeral or cremation memorials, has flexible chapel space for small to large capacity needs, a veteran cemetery section, as well as sections for a variety of faiths. Online at dignitymemorial.com.
We're back 9:36, and it's February 5th, 2026. Brian McMillan.
Ready for the spring weather to come.
Yeah, me too. Like I went to the mountains over the weekend.
Why'd you do that?
I know. Well, because usually it's warmer and we go up for a little breath of cold air. Well, it was colder there, and then blew out my one of the PVC pipes in the house. So I flooded the neighborhood without knowing it till a neighbor called, and some kids were do what?
Down here in Florida, it burst?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
No, yeah, it was here in Palm Coast, so I didn't know it. And the neighbor calls, and I was like, I wonder if it freezes, if kids could be out there ice skating in the swales. Wouldn't that be cool?
I know my daughter's been just hoping it snowed. And then, of course, the one day that it did rain, it was 50 degrees.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Oh, well, anyway, it's winter and we love it. And, we're going to talk about our Creekside Festival this weekend. Weather's going to be beautiful for that. 60s and sunny, right? That's
beautiful.
That's weather to go out, wear your sweater rather than sweating at 110, whatever. Well, let's talk about, because I wanted to, Janie, why we got you here. I want to talk a little bit more about the Rural Renaissance legislation. Are you familiar with that?
Not really. I mean, I've heard about it, but I'm curious.
So explain it, because it's a term that we need to know and understand. So
Sure.
we did a little bit at the beginning. So what does it mean here to Flagler County?
Sure. So it's a very comprehensive bill where it would provide some infusion of funds for those counties that
State funds.
Okay. For those counties that meet certain criteria. Flagler's just on the cusp of it, but because of our population, but we would be included, and those funds would go to a myriad of things: transportation improvements, infrastructure for technology, career programs, and education. And for essentially, it takes this money and provides it to a consortium, where that local consortium would then decide how that money is spent. And then specifically for the money that would be provided or earmarked for education, there would be a committee or consortium of superintendents that would decide how that money is distributed. And those would be the superintendents of the counties included in this Rural Renaissance bill.
So the consortium, right? It would be a committee, basically, right? And so you said there'd be the superintendents, which would be like the county administrator?
No, school superintendents.
Oh, this would all be the
just
schools.
Just for the education portion.
Okay.
How they're distributing the transportation money or, technology infrastructure money. I haven't paid as much attention to how that might flow, but it's definitely still more local. control and how best each county would need to spend that money in order to either attract additional business, jobs creation, or what's not really in Flagler County, but there are many rural counties where it's very difficult even to get Wi-Fi internet out to homes. Could you imagine in this day and age, right? Where so much of our life hinges on being able to access, or even for job opportunities.
So this rural renaissance, I mean, it's kind of a rural, I think, like out in the sticks renaissance. It's like a renaissance. Okay. And, but it already passed in the Senate. It's it's bipartisan. Everybody likes it.
Overwhelming. Right. And
Yeah.
the Senate president is, very much in favor of
So they
this,
need
but yet it
now-
doesn't have right, because you remember Schoolhouse Rock, how a bill becomes a law. We need something from the Senate and we need something from the House, and right now we don't have anything from the House that is comparable, and so we're eagerly awaiting somebody to pick that up, sponsor it, bring that forward, so that it can.
So every county, I understand this. So say it passes, say the House passes it, Senate passes it, everybody's happy. Republicans, Democrats, the governor, and then they say, okay, Flagler County, based on some formula, you get X amount of dollars. And then you have to, like the schools would be, okay, this is what we want. And then I would imagine the county would be for roads, or Benell, the city, like they need infrastructure. I mean, so this would be a big pot of money that everybody would feast on to get things done.
It's not so much I don't want to give the impression that it's just, oh, here you go, and there's no accountability to it. Definitely under the different aspects of where the money would go, there's requirements and oversight that would be built in. And like I said, specifically regarding education funding, there would be essentially an office or an organization that manages the disbursement of the funds under this bill. It's required. And then how it's used in terms of, or applied. Like, for example, if we just based it upon it distributing the money per student, then Flagler would get the most money out of all of the counties. However, is that really fair? Because we do already have a lot of technology infrastructure, things of that nature. So the superintendents need to come together and decide, well, are we going to create a weighted formula that isn't based upon just student numbers? But then once that formula is then developed, then it's up to those individual schools to spend that money. But there's some accountability reporting that needs to go back to the organization that's going to manage those funds. So, but again, very local control, which means we can get things done faster. It's more customized to the needs of the specific counties that would be involved. And it's short term. Right now, it covers 3 years for this, essentially a grant.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like it's going to happen. I mean, if it's already in the Senate and it's bipartisan approved, you think there would be enough people?
Seems odd if it's that popular. Why isn't someone picking it up in the House? But
well, I think there's a lot of other bills that maybe somebody wants to ensure gets moved, and maybe they're going to negotiate and use that as a negotiation tool in some way. There's a lot of strategy involved in ensuring that other bills also get passed or moved, and there's a little bit of give and take, right? And that's part of the process.
So, and back to your comments with Sam on the state wanting to control the education and the curriculums and books and things like that. So, you didn't use the word censoring, the state censor the school systems, but that's kind of what you were saying?
Yeah, and actually, there was an article that I read, and forgive me, I don't recall the source, yesterday, that the Commissioner of Education essentially wants to control and approve all of the curriculum. So could you imagine right now where you have curriculum that is in its development, it gets parent review. It gets review from committees at the state level. Then it comes to our counties. Our county district personnel reviews it. We then have it open for a certain period of time for public review. Could you imagine all of that is taken away and put under essentially one individual?
With potentially hundreds of
This
textbooks
does
around
not
the state to
sound
review.
like America.
Yeah. Okay.
That's, right?
Well,
So
and then
here-
so if you're in a liberal county, or like say, I don't know, I guess what Miami-Dade would be considered liberal county, right? With that, so they're going to want, the culture of that county and the people they get elected are going to have a lot more liberal outlook and saying, yeah, we don't, we want everything, whether it be what other conservatives might find offensive. So you're going to have a big variety then you're going to have conservative counties and you're going to have liberal counties. So the educational mix could be not too uniform,
is the
I guess.
state hoping to
kind of put some commonality
not
to it.
allow liberal thinking in the state?
Well, especially if they want to move towards creating their own curriculum, right? Essentially, it's a singular narrative. But I guess, beyond that, I think of it as, well, in capitalism, we say competition makes the best product. Well, if we narrow this down, right, where we now have a unified state curriculum, there isn't competition, right? Working in the ed tech field, Florida, New York, Texas, and California are the big drivers in how curriculum is formed. So we're already very influential. But now if one of those big states, right, says, you know what, we're not going to use any of you, it's going to be just one, essentially now you're eliminating competition, and therefore the constant improvement, right, that these textbook publishers undertake to have a solid resource.
I want to go
teachers.
back to, understand, and that's a good point, and that's why we debate things, I guess. I want to go back to the very beginning of the program with Pierre on his AI, and if you missed it, you got to listen to it, because basically he pays for a premium AI service, and it gave him some facts. He challenged it. The AI apologized, they were wrong, did it again, apologized, they were wrong. So here's Pierre all frustrated on facts of even simple things like who's dead and who's alive. And the AI goes, hey, they're still alive, when in fact, no, Charlie Kirk has died. And so he's like questioning the AI. And to me, Pierre, by the way, good job on that piece there. That was pretty cool.
Great.
So in education, let's take that into how much do teachers, and we're talking curriculum and things, how much of that is we're leaning on AI a lot more and more, and all of a sudden we as human beings accept things for fact because AI said it was, when in fact it's not. So how do we police AI?
I mean, we could do a whole week's podcast on this. So again, my master's degree is in educational technology. So obviously I'm very intrigued with this advent of AI. I say advent, although AI has been an integral part of our everyday lives. It's just that this is now the first time where in the last 3 years it's been available in the home, right? Consumer
and it's
level.
more generative abilities than it used to be.
So just for the listeners, there's two major categories of AI, agentic and generative. And then there's a subcategory of generative called companion AI. So agentic AI is, think automated processing. When we talk about careers in the future, that's what we mean. Right now, every business is pushing their teams to develop more efficiencies, gather more information about their customers, things of that nature through agentic AI. And then generative AI is when you say, hey, make me a poem. Hey, here's my ingredients. I want dinner for tonight, right? Now, and then the companion AI is where essentially it's acting like a best friend, a counselor, advice on your personal relationships. So,
or your school counselor.
right. So first of all, in terms of curriculum, AI would be outside the adopted curriculum, if we just used ChatGPT as an open, right? Because we have curriculum requirements, right? And teachers are required to use the adopted curriculum. So what I want to impress on everybody too is that we have access to Claude, ChatGPT, all of these things. These are the generic, right, access to AI. It's what everybody is using. When a business or a school or a curriculum company uses AI, they're not going to have it be open to the community, to the consumers, because that would give away their intellectual property, right? So businesses create more closed systems so that their information is held. And so when they build these AI agents, whether it's for generative or agentic, they're building system instructions with it. So part of the problem is, number one, to Pierre's point, is we're asking an agentic AI, which is pulling its information from the generic sources of information from the internet. So the information is only as good as what you put into it. Now think about everybody who's written a blog post, right? Are they right? Anybody can write anything.
That's considered
WordPress,
equally valuable to an AI
Correct.
search as it would be like.
And that's the so we need to become more I guess, sophisticated in how we prompt it. So you can tell an AI, do not give me false praise. Make sure that you pull only from .edu or .gov sources or whatever. And, you can ask, essentially frame requirements around it, right?
How do you know that those are being followed, though? Because if you say, tell me what any .gov says, and then something comes up, and just like Pierre's example, it's like, wait, that came from a .com. And then the AI says, well, actually, yeah, you're right. That was from .com.
You can prompt it to include the source. And in fact, many of the are automatically doing that, where you can link out to the source.
We have also seen many examples where someone is citing a source, the AI cites a source, and we find out afterward that the source was made up.
Right.
Like
but
a court
it's just
case
the
that's
same
fabricated.
It's the same as if you went on the internet right now. You can find, right? So here's my concern with using it in the classroom. Okay, so we talked about the business aspect. It's about efficiency, more agentic, maybe how to analyze information, right? Because basically they've built this AI off of modeling of how the human brain works. So it's really great at analyzing information you give it. What it's not great at is discerning, right, fake from real information in some cases, right? So, and here's my concern. When you're teaching students, right, we teach using something called Bloom's taxonomy. It's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You need to be fed first, have shelter before you worry about entertainment and things of that nature, right? So Bloom's taxonomy is the lowest level is knowledge. Okay, so that's where you feed a student a fact. Hopefully they can recall it. So many cases, that's where students are starting. All of the instruction starts with knowledge, and then you want to build them up to application, evaluation, and synthesis. So I'm applying what I learn. I can evaluate different arguments. I can create things. I can create my own essays. That's the highest level. The problem is with generative AI and putting in prompts, we're skipping that knowledge application. We're requiring this higher level of thinking of, I need to analyze the information I just received. I need to evaluate it for its authenticity, right? Which comes from a whole host of life experiences and knowing, hey, I should go cross-reference this. So I do feel that it is improving. I was I got to participate in a symposium where Google was there, they're listening to educators. They're listening to the public. And think about it. This is the most influential invention, right, since the internet, right, before that, since electricity. Yet they're giving it for free. right? You can pay for it, but you get a certain amount for free. Why would they do that? Because they want to see how is it operating. They need the mass input. They need the mass participation to improve the models. And that's what they're doing.
Well, and it's so sellable. I mean, data is by far the number one commodity in the world right now being sold above anything. And so this makes it even more valuable for marketing and for influencing and for all those sort of things. I think that, there'll be a lot of money is already being made on it. So, and not just Pierre's $250 either.
Well, so recently, I don't know if you guys pay attention to the stock market, but it's been taking a dive after the recent earnings calls, because like Google is saying, yeah, we made tons of money, but we're going to put more money than ever into AI. And so essentially reducing their coffers, if it will. And so a lot of companies have done that. There's a big concern that the money put in hasn't yet been realized. So, but clearly these very smart companies see the investment as worthwhile. So for me, the AI in the classroom is more about, for example, helping teachers. If I put in my lesson plans, I should be able to get information on, am I on pace? If I'm not going to finish the standards in time, is it going to tell me, well, here's a better way to maybe structure your pacing so that you can finish on time? Those are the that's invaluable, right? Not for knowledge recall.
Okay. All right. Hey, we've got to wrap it up here, but I do have to put in a big plug to the Creekside Music. And ever been out there to the Creekside Festival?
It's a lot of fun.
Well, we're going to have this year. We always try to find something where we had monkey racing. Remember that? We took a little
monkeys
heat from
on pigs? Or?
No, they were on dogs.
Okay.
And then people complained
right?
how cruel we were to the monkeys. And
I don't remember that one.
Well, good. I'm glad. But anyway, but it was fun. Then we had pig racing. We had the pig triathlon where the water was too cold. The pigs wouldn't go in the water, and then they race around the track. But anyway, and then what did we have last year? Puppy Pals or something. It was like it was
did you have Disconnect, or was that a different festival?
What's that?
The Frisbee show.
Oh yeah, the Disconnected Canines. Yeah, we've had them out there before. They're really cool. And then the Puppy Pals I saw on America's Got Talent, and we had them. And now this year we have the Soccer Collies. And on the phone right now, we have got with us here the Soccer Collie, Mark Lucas. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. How's everything going?
All right. We're looking forward to seeing. So we've been advertising the Soccer Collies. And tell us, what are we going to see? What are the Soccer Collies? Tell us about the dogs. Tell us about you.
Well, you're going to see a game that is really fabulous. We put the crowd in a big circle, and when the dogs push a very soft ball out of the circle, the dogs have scored a goal. And we had to come up with a way for the humans to score. So it is very competitive, but the dogs always win. The humans score by heading the ball to the ground before the dogs touch it. It's kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters. It's not really fair. The dogs always win. But they bring a lot of smiles and laughter, so it's really a great time for everyone.
So kids can participate in the audience.
Absolutely. That we have to have participation. It's not really a show, it's a game, but it's turned into a show because our oldest dog is going to be 12 in April. So she's over 80 years old, but you'd never tell. But she plays as the referee. So it's a really funny show now with her. And I just added a puppy to the mix, and there's a 6-month-old puppy out there, and he's bringing tremendous energy. So we have a mother and daughter. They're all rescue dogs. I rescued Bella, and a month later she had 8 puppies. Oh. And her puppy is really the main ball handler right now. So there's 4 of them. There's the mother and daughter, there's Sparky, the new puppy, and there's Honey, the referee.
All right.
So it's really a lot of fun.
So you,
I feel bad in a way because the humans always lose, but it's all in good fun.
Well, it's nice because the the Jacks, the Jacks sporting group, the new professional soccer team in Jacksonville is sponsoring you guys. So they were saying they might send some professional soccer players down to take on your collies. So.
Well, I hope they do. I hope they do that.
This might be the first human victory.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, we could come up with a viral video, I think, if we get some of their players down there.
Okay. All right, we'll work on it. Well, anyway, looking forward to seeing you Saturday and Sunday, Mark, and your all of your are they all collies? Is that the breed?
They are. They're border collies. 2 of them are full-blooded border collies, and 2 of them are border collie mixes.
Oh, all right. Okay, cool. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. And we'll see what happens. We'll give you the big area. We're saying that that you're going to be doing games at what time do we say? Like 2. I'm trying to look at my own schedule here to it. But anyway, it's pretty much a continuous thing. If you're out there, you're going to see some soccer playing, and you'll meet Mark and all the collies. So thank you.
That's right. What we would like to play once every hour, a 15-minute game every hour.
Oh, we'll do that then. Yeah, pay no attention to my schedule. Just go ahead and play every hour. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot. Travel safe over here, and we'll see you at the Creekside Music and Arts Festival this Saturday and Sunday. We kind of start around 10. We're done at 4. And we look forward to seeing you. Sounds like a lot of fun. Any questions or about you got Janie? You have a dog?
I do. I have a rescue dog named Piper, and it's although she can't play soccer, I try to throw things to her. She barely even fetches them. So I'm quite impressed when you can train.
Well, it's
dogs to do these
pet
things.
friendly. Bring her out there and she can learn something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, soccer colleagues, Mark.
Yeah,
take
we
care.
would love to see. Thank you. Oh, he hung up.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh,
we don't have the call.
What? All right. All right.
I think the dog tried to take the phone.
See you at Creekside.
All right, we'll see you at Creekside. Hey, also, this really kind of gotten out of control. Our first responders chili cook-off. It's gotten a little bit nasty here with the
competition.
You hate that.
Accusing, even though he said no,
nasty.
it's Berry Hill and the Palm Coast Fire Department against the big bad guys to beat is the Sheriff's Department. And Dan Engert, and he has the chefs because they teach culinary arts in the jail. And so that's part of their program. And so they have won 4 years in a row. And the Flagler Fire Department, Chief Tucker and Rob and everybody, they say the sheriff has been cheating. And sheriff says, no, they just make chili that sucks. They burnt it last year. Fire Department burnt their chili. And so Berry Hill didn't say the Sheriff's Department uses roadkill, but it was insinuated that
you seem to imply.
So anyway, so there's going to be so we need you to come out at Creekside on Saturday between 10 and 2, something like that, or 11 and 2, and judge. So you pay like $5, you get a cup and a spoon, and all that goes to charity. So.
I was in a chili cook-off once here in Palm Coast.
Oh.
They had one in the Veterans Park down there a while ago. I came in third. Very proud of that.
Really? Well, then you're an expert.
That's the apex of my culinary career.
Yeah, that's right.
that should be a Monopoly
I know,
community card.
Yeah.
Third place in chili.
And it's chilly weather now too. So
Indeed.
Perfect.
So we got cold beer and everything else. We got a moonshine still, and we got everything for everybody. Lots of things for kids to do. Noah's
Something
Landing.
to do before the Super Bowl. Right?
It is, yeah, exactly. Everybody goes, Super
day.
Bowl weekend. I go, I think that's better because the Super Bowl doesn't start till like
late,
7, 8 o'clock.
I'm just going to sit around and wait for it. Yeah.
Anyway, so please come out to Creekside. Lots of charities benefit from it. It's February 7th and 8th, this Saturday and Sunday. Free parking. Kids are free. Friendly dogs, bring them out, keep them on a leash, and let them watch the soccer collies. And it's $10 for adults to get in. And that's it. But parking's free and everything. And we hope to see a lot of people out there put a lot of work and effort into it. Anyway, we got to get going here. We're over time. But Janie Ruddy, thanks. It's always fun having you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Very good. Any final words of wisdom?
I just appreciate all of the community support, the support from the legislators. I think there's some big movement going on with education where they're really hearing some of our needs, and I'm looking forward to continued growth.
All right. Well, very good. Thank you for serving on our
Yes.
school board,
My
too.
pleasure.
Appreciate that. Brian, final
I
comments.
just want to
from you.
throw a little factoid out here that I was just researching.
Is it an AI factor?
No, it is not.
All right, good.
So we were just talking about the cities. We're collecting double the property taxes from 2014 to 2024. So this is something that's got to be addressed, right? I was just looking up the state of Florida budget, which is not property tax, but in 2014, the state of Florida budget was $66.5 billion. In 2024, it was $116.5 billion. So the state budget went up double, and so did the property taxes. So I don't know what to do. I don't know how to compensate for lack of property taxes if it happens, but it's a very fascinating issue to keep following the rest of the.
Well, like Janie said, if you look at what they're paying on property taxes in New Jersey and New York and all these other places, down here it's like, are you kidding me? That's it, And if you look at also, when you look at your Palm Coast utility bill, look at just the water part, and it's nowhere near as ridiculous as people go, oh, my water bill was $250.
Yeah,
it's like,
up north you pay. I remember garbage was more expensive than our water bill, and you couldn't put everything out there at the curb. Half the stuff, that's why they had trash all over the sides of the roads. Couches. It's crazy.
So we have it so good here. So don't let those keyboard warriors, ruin it for you, because it's a great place we live. We have great elected officials. We really do. Everybody, as much as it's fun to watch them argue and get mad, but that's all part of the game, and that's all part of the balance of it. But we have good-hearted people with good intentions that we've elected into all our positions here in Flagler County. So we need to protect that
Right on.
and appreciate it. All right.
See you at Creekside.
I'll be there and hope you are too. Janie, ready? Take care.
Have a good
Brian,
weekend.
See you out there. I'll buy you a beer. With your
A
chili.
root beer?
Okay, yeah,
All
I'll
right.
get you a root beer. All right. Have a good one. Be safe.
Sounds good.